friends, today's video, as you guessed by the thumbnail, is a little bit different because I just wanted to update you on what all has been going on with my life for the past 2 months. And so this video is going to have very little editing, if any, and it might have some awkward pauses. So I'm basically making this video for anyone out there who also has received a diagnosis similar to mine. And for those of you who I know genuinely want to hear my story, who follow my channel and enjoy hearing things that are going on in my life aside from Zoom games and party games. So I'm a very positive person. So this video is going to be difficult for me and there will be awkward laughter. Those of you who watch my channel, you know I laugh a lot in my videos. I also laughed in awkward situations. So let's see how this goes. Oh, I don't even know. Should I relax like this? I am glad to be wearing short sleeves with you today because I got my stitches out. So I'm so excited. I will not be showing you any gross pictures in this video of my surgery. Just wanted to really kind of talk about how I got the diagnosis and what I have, how I'm doing about 2 months later, and about my feelings, because I've looked up a lot of videos and people usually just stick to the facts and don't really talk about the feelings that go along and the emotional roller coaster that goes along with a cancer diagnosis. Okay, so in January, in January, I should say this. In January, I went to my OBGYN for my regular girly stuff appointment. And she said, "Hey, you're 40. Have you ever done a cancer skin check?" And I said, "No, is that something I should be doing? What is that?" And she said, "Well, it's basically they look you over from head to toe and look at all of your freckles and your moles and just make sure that nothing is skin cancer." She said, "You're 40, so you probably should have this done now as a preventative measure." So she's like, "I don't see anything for you to be concerned about, but just something you should do." Well, normally I would have brushed off this additional appointment because I have been known to not go to all of my medical appointments because life, being a parent, is busy and I focus on everybody else but myself. But every year I set a word that I focus on for the entire year, kind of helps me plan my calendar. This year my word was health. So I said yes to the appointment, made the dermatology appointment for a skin cancer check that was supposedly going to be covered through my insurance. Okay. Go to the check, and the doctor asked me, did I notice any spots that had changed over the past couple of years? And I said, well, I have this one spot on my arm up here that I swear is getting darker and slightly larger, but I'm not positive. I said, if it's doing it, it's been slow over the past 6 months. And he said, well, he said, it doesn't look worrisome to me, but because you noticed a change, we're just going to take it off. So I was not prepared in that moment at that appointment to get 2 biopsies done. So he took one off my back that I wasn't concerned about at all because it had been there for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. And then he took the one that I was concerned off my arm here. So I waited. 2 weeks later, he gives me a call. That's never a good sign when your doctor calls you directly. And he said, "Hey, I've got some concerning news, but the one on your arm came back as melanoma skin cancer." It was very surreal. Like, I heard him say cancer, but it didn't seem real. So I was positive through the whole conversation. I was just like, "Hey, thanks for letting me know. Hope you have a good day." my usual peppy self hung up the call, turned and looked at my husband, and I said, "You're not going to believe this. I have skin cancer." And not just because I think there are at least 3 different kinds of skin cancers. I was like, not one of the mild ones, the major one. And when they get the biopsy results back, he didn't tell me like what stage it was. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know what stages were. I didn't know how bad it was. Like, how do they tell you how bad it is? How do they know how bad it is? I didn't know any of that. just that he had told me that. And so he scheduled, he said, he referred me to a surgical oncologist an hour and a half from our house. And then he said, I need you to come in. We're going to look and see if we have any more that need some biopsies. And so that's why I ended up at a later appointment, this one taken off and this one right here that's purple, biopsy taken off. And he removed more from my back because, of course, all 3 of those came back as atypical, most likely to turn into cancer down the road. So when that happens, you just have to get them also completely removed. So this is hard. I need some water. How long have I even been going for? Because I don't want to go that long on this video. I should have set a timer. Okay, quick, Shawn, focus. So I had my surgical oncology meeting. My husband went with me. My oncologist is fantastic. He has a very dry sense of humor. He's hilarious, but very professional. He'd been taking off melanomas for 30, 40 years. Knows what he's doing. And he said, okay, they did a pathology report on it and his own pathology report, and then he said in about a month we'll schedule surgery. So I know I'm not going to stick to the timeline of dates, but I wanted to talk at this moment about the feelings that I had that first week of not knowing, the first week after you get your diagnosis. You go through all the stages of grief. I was in denial. I know there's 7 stages, so I'm not going to remember them all. I was in denial. I got really angry about it. Very sad. Just thoughts of, I want to be around for my kids. How horrible would it be to not have a mother? What does this mean for my life? How long am I going to live? And then back to denial of, this is surreal. Surely I'm in a dream and I'm going to wake up at any moment. Maybe what is happening? I don't believe in other dimensions, but maybe I'm in another dimension right now. It was the weirdest thing. Fear. I thought I had felt fear before. I have never felt fear before until the fear of unknowing is just something else. A paralyzing fear. Many of you know that there was a whole week where I didn't even post a YouTube video, which is not like me. And then until I got my surgery, I was only able to post 1 video a week, which again is not like me. And even that was a struggle. To be able to struggle to do something that I love to do, like YouTube, YouTube is my creative outlet. So to have that desire just completely go away and have my thoughts consumed with, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's going to happen to me. What am I supposed to be doing? How far along is this? All of these worries come into my mind was paralyzing and debilitating. Yeah. So if you have been diagnosed and you're newly diagnosed, all of those feelings are normal. Literally all of them are normal. There's a group on Facebook. I will link it if I can. I will link it in the description box of this video that I found that's private, that you can hear the stories and what everybody else is going through and ask questions. And that has been a huge source of comfort for me, as well as I've had a new friend step into my life who had melanoma on her face. And I had another friend who has told me that she has had melanoma, and I've had some family members step up and said they had basal cell. That was the other thing, is nobody in my family has a history of melanoma. So I never had to worry about this. It never even crossed my mind. My dermatologist and my oncologist both told me that I was automatically at risk for melanoma because I have light hair, fair skin, and blue eyes, light colored eyes. And I didn't know that. I thought I was excellent at putting on sunscreen because I hate to get sunburned. I will put sunscreen on. I am pictures of me, on rafting trips and stuff with a jacket on, a UPF protective jacket, because I didn't want to get sunburned. But what I didn't realize was that a sunburn, sun's rays, is different than UV rays. It can be a cloudy day and you can still get UV rays, radiation from the sun, and it be a cloudy, overcast day. And that there are certain times of the day where it's higher. I realize now that I was not good about putting sunscreen on the car because I thought that the car was protecting me. And come to find out, only my windshield is tinted. None of the other windows in my car are tinted. So I was just getting all of those rays. I would put sunscreen on, when I would go for walks, I put sunscreen on my face and areas of skin that were exposed. And as I'm walking, I would take off a jacket. I wouldn't have sunscreen on my arms. Oftentimes I wouldn't put sunscreen on my legs. Definitely hardly ever put it on my feet. When I went to the beach, of course, I put sunscreen on. When I was at the pool, I put sunscreen on. But in everyday life, I thought nothing about going outside to play with my child in the backyard and it not be that hot. I didn't put sunscreen on. So I thought that I was being vigilant, but I wasn't. Now my life has changed because I have to wear, I've got UPF shirts, I've got a hat. I cannot go outside without a hat on. I have to look at my phone. The weather app on my phone will tell you what the UV is. So like right now, the UV index is 2 and it's 9:22 in the morning. So there's radiation. And of course, as the day goes along, it gets, the number goes up. And as the day ends, the number goes down. And so I have to keep track, I have to look at that and see, well, do I need extra protection when I go outside? So 50 SPF, I wear shirts now. I wear pants now. I put sunscreen on the backs of my hands. I put on the tops of my feet and my ankles, any skin that is exposed, and I apply it multiple times throughout the day. Another mistake I was making was that I was only applying sunscreen in the morning, and then that was it. Wasn't applying it anywhere else. It comes off. When you're exercising, sunscreen comes off. If you get sweaty, sunscreen comes off. It's not as effective anymore. The bottle clearly states, apply after 80 minutes. Wasn't doing that. So it's just weird because I've always loved outside. And I can still enjoy the outdoors. I just have to think and put thought into it because now this could happen to me again. I could have melanoma again. And my risk is it may not sound like a lot, a 2% chance of it returning in the next year and a half, or is it 4%? It might be 4%. It's either 2 or 4%, whatever it is, it's too high for me. I got lots of sunburns. My dermatologist and oncologist told me that if you got frequent sunburns as a child, that increases your risk. If you've had any significant sunburn that's like 2nd-degree burns or higher, that increases your risk. I had a 2nd-degree sunburn on the shins of my legs about 4 years ago when I was doing a tubing trip down a river with my church youth group, and I was wearing a jacket. But every time I got in and out of the inner tube, it was scraping the sunscreen off my legs so that we were on the river for about 3 hours and my skin was see-through at the end of it. It was so bad. It was so painful. I couldn't walk for 2 days. I did not see a doctor about that. Maybe then they would have told me, hey, you're at higher risk for melanoma now. But I didn't see a doctor, which is unfortunate. So I hope that maybe those of you who are watching will think about putting more sunscreen on your children and applying it frequently. Putting hats on your kids, because one of the most common places for melanoma to occur is on the scalp. And I've seen some pictures. I don't want melanoma on my scalp because then they have to shave your head and that's a whole other issue. I thought having it on my arm was bad enough. So anyways, my surgery, those of you who are interested in my surgery, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but I wanted to document this so that I don't forget. It was outpatient, so they did it in a couple hours. They took tissue all the way down to the muscle. Thankfully, my melanoma had not reached my muscle yet, so they took it all the way down. I actually have a divot in my arm. Yeah. I don't know if you can see, but it goes down. I don't know if that's going to correct itself or not. And it's about, how long is this? I don't know, 4.5 inches long. They used glue, they used stitches to stitch it back up. For a whole 2 weeks, I couldn't drive a car, couldn't shower, couldn't exercise, couldn't pick up my child. Now the only thing I can't do is I can't exercise my upper body. So, but I'm back to running on my elliptical, I'm back to driving a car, I'm back to taking showers. It's the small things in life that you don't realize are so important, like a shower, until you can no longer do them, until you have to rely on other people to wash your hair. That is very humbling. So if you guys have any questions, leave those in the comment section down below. Thank you for listening to my story. Wear your SPF. I might start saying that at the end of all my videos because I think it's a good reminder for all of us to wear SPF 50 plus and to wear our hat. Yeah, I'm just going to take every day, one day at a time. I will be seeing my oncologist in a month again. I will be seeing my dermatologist every 3 months for the next 1.5 years, and my oncologist, I think, every 6 months for follow-ups and checkups. And I'm sure I will be having more biopsies of spots coming up that will then have to be tested to see if they're melanoma. And those will be worrisome. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to take each day at a time. When those biopsies happen, then I'm going to worry about those then. The worst part is that first diagnosis and not knowing what happens next. So I hope that this has helped you to understand a little bit. If you have received that diagnosis yourself, I hope you find some comfort. And again, I will link that Facebook group in the description box because it's been a huge support for me. All right. I will see you in my next video, and it will be happy and filled with games and joy. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.